Namaste everyone. In today's video, we're going to focus on Muni Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 2.30. Now in this Yoga Sutra, Muni Patanjali is starting to explain to us the 5 different types of yamas. And he starts to explain a little bit about each one and why each one is so important. So let's take a good look at the sutra and start breaking it up word by word. The sutra itself goes: Ahinsa, Satya, Astaire, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha, Yamaha. Alright, so that is the sutra itself. Now let's look at some of the words and start to understand it better. So the first word here is Ahinsa, and Ahinsa refers to non-violence in thought, speech and action. The next word is Satya, and Satya refers to truth or speaking the truth in all situations and circumstances. The next word is Astaire, and Astaire means non-stealing. So means non and staire means stealing. So Astaire means non-stealing. The next one is Brahmacharya, which is again made up of a compound of Brahma, which comes from the Brahman, and Charya, which means mode of behavior. So mode of behavior which is very conducive to the Brahman, or something that helps you to restrain any distractions or something that's not required for you. So that is Brahmacharya, which we'll understand deeper through the sutra. And then we come to Aparigraha, which is talking about non-hoarding or not collecting things. And the last word, of course, is Yama, which is talking about all of these 5 together. So now that we've understood the step-by-step explanation, let's dive into the main understanding. So the first word over here is Ahinsa or non-violence, and this is referring to a state of being where we're not violent in our thoughts, in our actions or in our speech. Most of us associate non-violence with physical action, but in all of these practices we must remember that it's also talking about a mental, spiritual and verbal level. So that's why it becomes really important to understand this. Now in this particular explanation, we're just going to look at the overview of the 5 points. If you're looking for a more detailed explanation on each of the 5 yamas, we've made a separate video on that where we go really deep in each one and you can understand it even better. But this is just a quick overview of all 5. So yes, we have Ahinsa. Then we come to the next one, which is Satya, about speaking the truth. And I think from experience, we all know that it just doesn't work to speak white lies or to lie in certain situations or to hide information. It's always good to be honest, truthful and upfront about things in our life. The next one here is Astaire, which means not stealing. And this again is not only talking about physical stealing, but also the things we steal on a subconscious level, like the time, attention, affection of other people, along with things that we steal mentally, when we're kind of draining people of their energy without knowing it. So it is a lot to do with our behavior and our words, and not just our actions. So that is Astaire. Then we come to the 4th one, which is Brahmacharya, and this is something very important to understand. Brahmacharya refers to the overall restraint and control, which is so powerful that you are going closer and closer to the real Brahman state of being, and you're kind of aligning all your behavior towards that. And the reason this is so important is because it's not only about your sexual conduct, but it's about the way you conduct yourself in everything you do in life. Some commentators even say that in case Muni Patanjali was falling short on words and he had to just choose one yama or one niyama, he could just say Brahmacharya, and that would encapsulate everything under it, because it denotes a very deep sense of self-restraint and control. Now, something very important here to keep in mind, which the commentators have emphasized, is that this part of the sutra is not saying that you have to repress or suppress your sexual desires and not address them. This is not what the sutra is saying. The sutra is encouraging us to work through our mental urges and to understand in what way we're feeling an urge towards something, trying to understand what is creating this urge and then to work around it. So we have to be very careful here, because if we just repress the urge and we don't go deep into understanding it, there's a chance that we could have a lot of mental health issues cropping up. So it's a big recommendation here that if you're working with Brahmacharya, it needs to be a choice that you've made after understanding the philosophy, after knowing it in real detail, and then looking at how much is realistically possible for you to do. At no point are we saying that you have to 100% stop all sexual contact and not engage, because it's a part of our species. It's the only way we can keep reproducing and keep moving forward. But at the same time, we can be a little wise about it, and we don't have to spend energy in ways that might harm us or that are not as good for us. So it's just about deciding for yourself how much of Brahmacharya or sexual abstinence or sexual control is possible for you, and how much are you willing to do. And then there's no judgment here involved. It's a conscious personal decision that you take for your own spiritual advancement and development. So that's what I believe. From personal experience, I can say that I did experiment with celibacy for about 2 or 3 years, and it was such a great time period where I understood so much about myself, about the whole practice. But of course, it was open to me to decide how deep I wanted to go in the practice and to what extent I wanted to control all of my urges. So the point is that it's your decision, and you don't have to feel, and the idea is not to feel like, oh my God, I can't engage in this, and then be thinking about it all the time. Okay, so you have to kind of maneuver it in a smart way such that it helps your spiritual practice instead of destroying it or making it worse. Alright, so this is just something to keep in mind. The fifth point, of course, is Aparigraha, which talks about non-hoarding and making sure that we're not collecting things in a greedy way, just using what is absolutely necessary. And I think with the pandemic, all of us have realized how many things we don't need, most of the things we have because of out of greed or a deep want, but only the things we really need or we're really passionate about, we can get those. For example, for some of us, maybe we really enjoy buying new bags and new shoes, but some people may not care about that at all. Instead, they care more about perfumes or something like that. In which case, it's completely fine just managing your spending and your desires in such a way that it doesn't make you greedy overall. That is what is really important. So this is a little bit about Aparigraha, and that brings us to the end of all 5 points of this sutra. I hope that you found this video helpful, engaging, and you're able to understand this sutra a little better. As I mentioned, for a detailed explanation, we've made a different video that you can check out and understand the yamas better. I look forward now to seeing you in the next video or in our future classes. And until then, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, give us a big like, drop your comments below, and we'll see you in our next video or the next class. Until then, take care, and I'm going to see you really soon. Namaste.